Welcome back to the community, everybody, and thank you for all being part of it. And also, thank you for the donations. A few people have been sending donations to help out, and I really appreciate it. If you can possibly do that too, just go down into the description. There's a secure link to PayPal to help keep the channel alive. Thank you. Today, we are doing something that I probably should have done within the last 2 years. I had 2 different messages now saying, why have you not demonstrated oil change, gaskets, cleaning the screen? So I'm going to do that today. I already started working on some other parts of the car, so that film footage is set aside. I never really thought much to do the oil change video because it seems like everybody knows how. But maybe it's just for entertainment purposes, or people want to see what I'm doing when I do it. And we're going to talk about oil. Oh, no, not oil. A little bit. Not a lot, because it'll just start a debate. And I'm going to ask Ince a question about a shifter. So, okay, let's get rocking and rolling. All right, before we get started with the oil change process, and of course tips and tricks and blah, blah, what do you guys think about shifters here, guys and ladies? I have this MP one, which works great. It's brand new. I only tried it out for 10 miles in one car. Very clean, brand new. And somebody had given me this scat shifter. I guess it's from the 80s, possibly. I imagine it works fine. It needs cleaned up, but it can all be polished up and clean up well. I'm trying to stay with that vintage 60s feel, but I don't know, and I'm not really big into the stock shifters. Tell me what you think, the MP or the scat. And don't go by the MP name. I'm talking about the style. So tell me what you folks think, if this will look awkward in a 60s style, you know, but let me know what you think. Now, before we get started, make sure you have on hand 2 new gaskets, and buy good quality ones, don't buy poo-poo. And we have our crush washers. You'll need 6 of the little ones, and you'll need a large one for the center one. I do want to bring something up. Of course, I'll show you right now. I know you're thinking, why is he showing an oil change on an engine out of the car? If you've been following this community's channel for a while, I take advantage of a situation. This is on the stand. It's easier to film. It isn't no different than being in a car. So it's nice for me to get the angles with the cameras and show exactly what I'm doing. That's why. But I'll be doing an oil change when the 68's on the road. And if you live somewhat local and you want your oil changed, bring the oil and the gaskets, and I'll do it for you. And I'll film it, but you have to be in the video. How's that sound? Okay. So today we're going to go ahead and start draining first. Now you have some plates that have a drain plug and some that don't. So this one thankfully does have the drain plug on it. It's a 22 millimeter. So let's go ahead and start draining it, and we'll talk about oil while it's draining. Now, before you pull the plug and start draining the oil, remove the filler cap, okay? And also remove your dipstick. It will cause an open ventilation to where the oil will drain out much easier and faster. All right, now we are underneath the engine, or we would say underneath the car, okay? And as you see, we have a 22 millimeter bolt. So we're going to take that out first. Some of them don't have the drain plug. So if you have the chance, buy one that has the hole for the drain plug while you have it apart. That way you can go ahead and utilize the drain plug. When you pull the whole thing down, it can be a pain in the butt without draining it first. So let's start this draining. Ugh. Okay. Okay, so I went ahead and I sped the film up to show you it all coming out, basically. Now we're going to go ahead, we're going to take a 10 millimeter socket, and we're going to pull the 6 acorn nuts off, okay, and then pull it down. We're going to clean the screen and do a little bit of everything. So let me grab a ratchet. Now these are not torqued very tightly, and we're going to go over that, of course, because you don't want to break these off. It will end up breaking off a stud in the engine, and we don't need that. So I'm going to show you how to do it safely so that don't happen, or hopefully doesn't happen. Let a little more drain out. There's going to be some laying on that plate. Let me get this last acorn nut off. There we go. We'll clean this plate up. Now you have your strainer. If I can get it off without a screwdriver, I'll try. Oh, here it comes. Alrighty. We're going to discuss this at the workbench. And then we have a gasket that we got to pull off. We'll talk about that. Okay, let's go over to the workbench. Now I'm going to show up close how to clean the strainer, get the gasket surface cleaned. We're going to clean up the acorn nuts and do a little bit of everything to this so when we put it back together, it does not leak. So come on over here. The first thing I highly, highly advise is put on gloves, because you're dealing with oil contaminants. You're dealing with brake clean, which we're going to be using momentarily, and you don't want these chemicals in your body. It can end up causing blood cancer. So let's throw the gasket out. Make sure you have plenty of rags on hand. Now, as you can see, it looks like somebody was having an issue. I see Permatex around the drain plug. All honesty, you shouldn't have to do that. That's why we're putting a new crush washer on. So let's clean this up first. Probably too big of a screwdriver. Well, maybe not. Okay. Can I get off of there? There we go. And now I see the crush washer. So what they had going on here? They were using 2 crush washers, and they also had Permatex on it. I got to get this copper off of here. Wow. Why did they do this? There we go. So there was this and this with Permatex. I have no idea. I definitely wouldn't do it that way. So first things first, I'm going to clean these up on the wire wheel real quick and the drain plug, and then we're going to show you how to clean the strainer properly. So hang in there. I'll speed up the film. Make sure you wear safety glasses. I know mine aren't, but I'm telling you to. So let's clean these up. I'm going to speed the film up. Hang in there. All right, that's much better. When you clean stuff up like this, it looks nicer and it's neater and it's easier to see if you have a leak. Okay, so we're going to go ahead now and we have to clean. Look at that drain plate. We're going to clean this all up. We're going to make it nice. But first, we need to spray this with brake clean and clean out the strainer really good. Now, they do sell these, but this one here looks like it could be cleaned up pretty nice with no problem. So let's spray some brake clean in here and blow it out with air. So give me 1 second. You can watch me do that. Now be careful and watch your eyes while you're doing this. Okay, we're gonna spray this in here. Come on. Can's almost empty. And there we go. Oh, good. Now that is not what you do. All right, so let's make a mess and clean it again. Smart. Let me get a different can. Let's try again, because all we're doing is making a mess. Yeah, you can see it. I'll show you up close when I'm done. All cleaned out inside. Okay, one more squirt here. Okay, let's go back over to the bench. Okay, let me give it a little bit of spray here. Clean it right up. I mean, it doesn't have to be polished and shining, but if you want it to seal right, you want everything cleaned off. And we'll get up close in a strainer in a second to show you what the insides looks like and the purpose. Let's go underneath here. Probably going to run it across the wire wheel to make it easy. Okay. Okay, one lap around the wire wheel, because this thing apparently has been on there a long time. This is from that thing motor that I'm redoing for somebody. Okay, let me hit it real quick with the wire wheel. When you're using it over and just cleaning the screen out, what I like to do is take it, put it on the edge of the bench, and just push down slightly. See what I'm doing there? Just like that. Okay. Then you're going to put it back on a flat surface. Just go like that, very lightly. All right, because it'll flatten it back out so it seals properly. We have, I need a really dirty rag, our drain plate. So I'm going to take and get the heavy stuff off. All right, let's get our gasket removed. Oh, that's been on there a long time. A long time. That will need the wire wheel. Okay. Ugh, this thing's poopy. Let me give it a little wipe down before I put it on the wire wheel. Oh, there's Permatex everywhere. That is not what you do. You do not do that. At least I don't. All right, let me hit it on the wire wheel. So I cleaned up this side of it, come out very nice, but I can't get the wire wheel on the inside of there, so I'm going to get the handheld out real fast. So we're going to go underneath the car, so to speak. I'm going to spray my rag with some brake clean because I didn't want it to spray the camera lens. So just be careful, you know. spraying underneath, hit yourself in the face or what have you. I'm just trying to keep from hitting the camera lens. You want this surface very clean, because if it's not and you have a little piece left on there, you know what's going to happen. It'll be leaking. Okay, so we have that all cleaned up. All right, looking good. I'm going to show you something here a second. It's by Tecton. Tecton. I like that. That's a cool name. Here, let me bring you up close. This is a torque wrench. A little torque wrench, huh? Look at that. Okay. This does inch pounds. All right. And it does Newton meters. Okay. But the reason I'm showing you this is right here. When you're torquing these little acorn nuts on here, which we'll be doing momentarily. All right. Just bear with me. It's only 5 foot-pounds. Now, equivalent, it's 60 inch-pounds, which is inch, not foot. You can snap these off very easily. Now, while we're at it, take a look. Do you see rot or decay in here? Are the studs okay? Check them over. I flip the motor, like I said. I take advantage of camera angles while stuff is out so I can film better for you. Now, everything is solid on this one. It's a nice engine block, but a lot of them will have decay. You'll see decay and crummy bummies in there and everything. So this one, the studs are nice on it. Just check it out and make sure. So as you can see, we have everything ready. All right, we have our crush washers. Everything is cleaned up. Now the strainer here is all cleaned out. Make sure if you start seeing tears in this or holes, replace it, okay? And truthfully, I like to replace mine all the time, but that's just me. So if in fact you feel the need, buy a new one. If not, clean this out and blow it out really, really good. So let's go over to the motor. Now we know everything is clean. We are going to take our gasket, put our first one on. Okay. Now remember, like I said, you can't be flipping your car over, so I do the best I can while filming for you folks. So we did that. Next, we are going to put on our strainer. Now, a lot of people like to take, sorry, I was paying attention to what I was doing, and put some grease around the cardboard gaskets. If you feel the need to do that, go right ahead. Don't use Permatex. We're putting our next gasket on. Okay, here comes the plate. Now make sure everything is seated properly. I'm looking around it right now. You just can't see that. Okay. Let's drop our little crush washers on. Don't drop them down in a hole. You don't need that crapola. There you go. So now we're going to set up our torque wrench, and I'll explain the process while I'm doing it here. Hang tight. I have the torque wrench set up to 60 inch-pounds. Can you see that? Hopefully. There you go. Now that would be equivalent to 5 foot-pounds. Do not put a 3/8 ratchet on this or a 1/2 inch ratchet. If you have to and you don't have a baby torque wrench, which they have these on Amazon, and I found them to be fairly accurate, do it very gently. Use a nut driver by hand. Okay. When you're using these baby ones, if you choose to buy one, okay, the click, it's not loud like a 3/8 wrench. It's actually a little bump, so I'll be quiet once I'm doing it so you can hear it. But I love these for small tasks. but you got to crisscross the whole time. So let's do that. I'll shut up now. And this is 1/4 inch drive. Okay, so now we're going to go back quietly. Oh, not yet. Should be getting there. Not yet. Might be compressing the gaskets. There. Hear that? That's it. Okay. All right. It's not a loud click like you're used to with the little ones. Once you hear the click, stop. Okay, let me check. I'm going to just run around them once. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. There we go. Now, I'm not telling you have to run out and buy a 1/4 inch torque wrench, okay? But a lot of people get bananas on these and crank hard. You don't want to do that. You're going to break the studs, okay? I had a Toyota once, and the reason I own that is I took the whole top of the engine apart on it, the V6. 2000 Camry 3.0. They run forever. But I was doing delicate work, which called for inch pounds, so that's why I bought that. I find it to come in handy. I've done 1 million oil changes. All right, not 1 million, but you know what I mean. And I found it useful. Instead of going, I think that's tight enough, I think crack, and then it's over. So let's put this drain plug in at 25 foot-pounds. We are back at the engine, and you're going to put your crush washer on, okay? And let's start it in there. And I moved over to my bigger torque wrench. Now you can do this by hand, okay? I'm just showing you the proper way to do it so you don't run into a jam. I set it at 25 foot-pound, not inch-pound. There we go. Okay, let's talk oil. All you have left to do now is fill it with oil. 2.6 quarts, okay? But what I advise you to do is put a little bit under 2.5 quarts and then check it. Pull the stick out, clean it off, put it in, pull it out, check it. Just to make sure. You don't want to overfill your oil. I've actually seen people post in comment sections and say, I overfill mine because it leaks it a lot. If it's leaking it that bad, you got an issue. I'm not saying air-cooled motors don't leak. I don't like them to leak. I do the best I can to keep that from happening. But so let's just do a 60-second thing on oil, okay? And I know this is a very dirty word to bring up. However, I seen somebody post not too long ago that they were running 0W20 in their Beetle now. They just started doing it. Don't do that. Do not do that, please. That is too thin. That's for modern day cars that have close tolerances, okay? One thing you want is something with high ZDDP, okay? Now, a lot of, like, I think the new castor oil out has it. A lot of people say the Rotella diesel oil. I heard they lowered the levels in it. I'm not sure. I can't prove that. used it. A lot of people like running the 15W40 Rotella and have ran it for years successfully. I don't have no proof that it is good or not good. What I try to do, I live northeast, so I'll run 10W30 throughout the winter months, which I really don't like driving mine in the winter because we have a lot of road salt. Or you can run straight 30 over the summer, nice heavy oil. So if you feel the need to, go ahead and run synthetic, but a lot of times it will clean up the old seals if you don't have a newer motor, and it'll start leaking worse. It's true, it does. Also, if you're running conventional oil, you can put an additive in, you know, for the ZDDP additive, okay? Penn used to be Brad Penn, that's high in zinc. There's quite a few oils that you can choose from. A lot of people like the Valvoline VR1 racing oil. So choose wisely, do your research, and read as much as you possibly can. Now, here's something else I wanted to bring up, okay? I usually don't go over aftermarket things. However, if you have an external oil filter, you ran a full flow, it's hanging under your inner well, fill the oil filter with some oil. Don't let it start up dry. Now, I know I shouldn't even touch base with this, but I felt the need to. So put oil in your oil filter and then thread it up on there, okay? And pull your coil wire off. Crank the car until the oil light goes out. That means the oil went all the way through the system. Now, if you do have the full flow and external oil filter, your system is not going to be filled with 2.6 quarts, depending on what size filter you use. So that's on you, okay? But remember to do that because you do want the oil through the system, you know, since you have an external filter, you know, before you go ahead and fire it up and start revving it up, which you shouldn't do, and end up with a dry start. So, okay, let me close out here. So that is this week's DIY update. I had a lot of messages on saying you've never showed an oil change. I really didn't think much of it because it's a simplified process, but then I got to remember not everybody knows how to do that, or maybe if it helps one person out so they don't break them studs off especially. So that is this week's video. I'm probably, as I said before, I might have to step up to 2 videos a week because I got a lot of catching up to do. So winter was here, winter's not fun. We're doing the giveaway shortly. I have to sit down and put all the names into the machine and then do it live where it spins. And you'll get your t-shirt, your book, everything I showed in the giveaway video. So we did hit our 15,000 subs. I'm just a little behind, so be patient. And I'm going to grab a bunch of names from the comment sections over the last 2-3 videos and put them into the raffle. And hopefully next week I'll be showing the giveaway, and then you'll be getting something in the mail if you win. I'm probably going to do a second and third runner-up too, just for stickers. So I think that'll be fun. Okay, everybody have a great weekend, and thanks for being here. Be nice.